from them. And also, hopefully, I'm putting them fairly close to the end of the term so that we can go up to the farm. 65 miles from here is a Hare Krishna commune, a farm, where they raise cows. We'll go up some Sunday and spend the day. And you'll talk to these weirdos. You'll talk to these people that if your grandmother ever knew you were talking to them, she'd be very worried about you. Except they're not weird. They're some of the sweetest people I have ever known in my life. They're absolutely engaging, wonderful, committed human beings. And they live up there, you know where, go up to 322 west of Harrisburg? You know where Port Royal is? It's off of 322, about 10 miles. They own a farm, an enormous farm up there. And they live there all by themselves, taking care of things, raising their own food. It's lovely, it's absolutely lovely. It's called Gitanagari. Gitanagari. You'll spend a Sunday afternoon up there, and also have Raj Kishore, who is a musician, not my kind of musician, but he's a kind of a musician who will come and visit the class. They spend 2 days with us. You'll love him. He's a very engaging and wonderful human being. Scientology. Has anybody not heard of Scientology? Has anybody heard of Scientology? What have you heard?
I can't really say particularly, but I assume it's just like the religion of, not really a religion, but like Darwinism kind of a thing.
Why don't you sign up for this?
All right.
You're so far off base.
Really?
Good. I mean, that's a compliment. I wasn't browbeating you about that. Being nice to you, yeah, Scientology is a very powerful movement. I just got in the mail about late last week. I knew one of their mailings. I have 2 copies of the Encyclopedia of Scientology, and I go, oh, it's amazing, wonderful stuff. And I'm almost positive I can persuade some 1 or 2 Scientologists to come to class and talk with you. It's a movement founded by L. Ron Hubbard, who was a science fiction writer, or science fantasy writer, still is. Have you ever seen any television ads that are totally and absolutely unbearably obnoxious television ads for what? Dianetics! And you just don't say Dianetics. The way these things come crashing onto the television screen, you have to say, Dianetics! They explode all over the place. So, Dianetics is, in a sense, the Old Testament of, that's a screwed up analogy, but it's kind of an Old Testament of Scientology. And it's a fascinating movement. It attracts a lot of celebrities. One of the most famous celebrities, or the guy who has made himself famous, at least in part, by being a Scientologist, is John Travolta. There are others who have also been attracted to Scientology. They've also been taken to court practically every day of the year for the last 15 years. But they have fought back, and they're just doing fine. And Scientology will be very, very interesting. It is a totally, how shall I put it? It is a creation of L. Ron Hubbard, Lafayette Ron Hubbard, who died, I don't know, sometime in the 1970s. Took the movement a while to let everybody know publicly that he had died. But nevertheless, I think it's fairly well established now that L. Ron Hubbard is deceased, or been translated, or gone someplace else. And behind him, he has left this enormous and very, very powerful and wealthy organization called Scientology. So there will be 8 of those that we are definitely, there's no question that we will be dealing with these 8. Absolutely no question about that at all. And each one of these will be represented by 1 or 2 persons and or a visit to their place. For example, the people who would do the Mormons should manage sometime at least to go to Washington, D.C. and visit the temple. Have any of you not seen the temple, the Mormon temple in Washington, D.C.? You haven't seen it? That means you haven't been to Washington, D.C.
But look, can you get in there? I mean,
Oh, sure. Yeah,
it's
you
just
can
certain
bottom.
areas, right?
Yeah, you can't get in the top because that's not for Gentiles, but we're Gentiles. And we can get in the bottom. And they have displays and dioramas and lectures and talks and that kind of stuff. But we will have at least two elders in class before early next week. Probably, no, not early. Either the president of the Pennsylvania Mission or his representative will be here. Anyhow, but you ought to think about that. You can, absolutely fascinating. And if any of you want to take a break in spring break and go to Chicago, anybody live near Chicago? It's a shame you don't live near Chicago. It's a wonderful place. You go up to the Bahai temple. But we'll also have in class a woman who has written the definitive work on Baha'i temples in the whole world. She lives out of Westminster. And Unification Church, if you do that, you're almost duty-bound to go down to Washington, D.C. Unification has bought a church down on 16th Street, which is sort of Religion Row, right across from the Universalist Unitarian Church there and the Masonic Temple. You can go down there and spend a Sunday afternoon. Find out what's going on. No, just respond to these crazy, stupid, idiotic rumors that people spread around about these people. And Christian Science, we have at least one member of the faculty who's a Christian Scientist who goes to Christian Science meeting every Sunday morning. If you're interested, I can tell you who she is, and you can go with her. Church Universal and Triumphant, that's going to be hard to visit because there isn't any place. Though they do have an educational house in Washington, D.C. that you can go and spend some time. And Eckankar, I haven't made any contacts with them yet. They kind of drifted away and went underground for a while because the movement was torn by a fierce leadership struggle. And so they kept a low profile, so I've lost contact with the Eckists, but I will be back in touch with the Eckists. But there's a wonderful Eckankar meeting over in Harrisburg. Jehovah's Witnesses, Ishkan will go to the farm, and Scientology. I here and now caution anyone who might be interested in Scientology going to one of the churches. I can caution you, that's all I'm saying, I caution you. They have certain approaches to people and have a way of inviting you to purchase services that they offer, such as being cleared and being sent into transcendental space, that seem very appealing and very attractive. I'm not going to fight. I'm telling you flat out, I do not recommend that you attend the Scientology church. If you want to, fine, it's okay, it's up to you. Also, there's some other interests that might be possible for a variety of reasons. Anybody here live anywhere near Bryn Athyn, Pennsylvania? What's at Bryn Athyn? Ah, the big cathedral. What is it? Okay, you're going to go. It's the Church of the New Jerusalem. It's a Christian, quasi-Christian sect founded on the teachings of Emanuel Swedenborg, an 18th century Swedish mining engineer who talked to God. And Bryn Athyn is the cathedral church of the Swedenborgians. It's a beautiful place, absolutely beautiful place. Who is that? Who owns or who was head or started Pittsburgh Plate Glass? Oh, come on, David. Anyhow, he was a Swedenborgian. Have you seen the signs of the people who do tree work? Asplund? That family is Swedenborgian. And so forth. So anyhow, that would be a really fascinating thing because it's sort of a local phenomenon and it's idiosyncratic. There's nothing quite like it anywhere around. It's very unusual and very fascinating thing. I'd love for at least one or two people to be able to report on the Church of the New Jerusalem. Reconstructionist Judaism. Everybody thinks when they think about Judaism, Reformed, Conservative, and Orthodox, and that's only the tip of the iceberg. There are also the Hasidim. No, I don't think I can get any Hasids here. Who are the Hasidim? That's a sect of Judaism. Who are the Hasidim? Where do they live in the United States? Yeah. Huh? Brooklyn, that's right. Williamsburg. Their leader just died. Menachem Schneerson. Just died. It's a what do you call it? It's a dynastic sect of Judaism. That is to inherit. Any of you ever see the movie The Chosen? No? That's what happens. It was about the conflict between a Hasid and Reform or conservative Jew. Yeah, it's fascinating. It's a great movie. I thought it was a great movie, The Chosen. But we're not going to deal with them or Jews for Jesus or anything like that. We're going to deal with, I hope anyhow, Reconstructionist Judaism. It's a Jewish sect denomination that was founded in Philadelphia around the 1930s by a guy by the name of Mordecai Kaplan and a couple of members of the staff are Reconstructionist Jews. But it's new. It's fairly new. I think it's 60 years old or so. I would love for somebody, one or two people, to help us understand Reconstructionist Judaism. I'm also hoping that I can persuade some people to do some research on the Branch Davidians, which I have an enormous amount of material on them that I got off the internet. I mean, enormous amount of stuff on the internet about the Branch Davidians. And did any of you ever hear of the People's Temple? Well, that was several years ago, back in the 1980s, excuse me, when a guy by the name of Jim Jones persuaded 900 people to commit suicide in Guyana. But I'm putting those two things together, probably unfairly, but the Branch Davidians are an example of a kind of an apocalyptic sect. And one might almost call them, though I hesitate to use the word because of the normal casual conversations associated with it, the term cult. The Branch Davidians, but I do think would qualify as an authentic apocalyptic eschatological cult. It had a single leader, and its behaviors were extreme. And whether or not Waco would have happened without the complicity of certain agents of the United States government is unclear to me. Well, I say it's unclear. It's not at all unclear. It's perfectly clear to me what happened there. The people who were threatened by the presence of the Branch Davidians didn't consult people that I know about what was going on there. They just didn't. They dealt with it in the same way that the Yugoslavians have dealt with each other. Let's kill. Let's be threatened by each other and we'll kill each other. That's the way to solve this problem. The Branch Davidians, that did not have to happen. There's no question in my mind about it. But anyhow, it'd be interesting to try to get some sensible, objective perspective on what happened. Do you have any idea what otherwise well-known American religious tradition spun off the Branch Davidians? Seventh-day Adventists. Who are the Seventh-day Adventists? Glad you asked. That would be interesting for somebody to pursue as well. Another one that we may or may not deal with is Ahmadi Islam. The Bahais are a kind of quasi-Islamic sect. That is, they arise back in the 1860s, 70s. They arise out of an Islamic environment in Persia or Iran. But they're not Muslim anymore. They've gone way beyond being Muslim. They are a bona fide, universal, self-consciously inclusive religious movement. The Baha'is are. The Ahmadis are a fascinating messianic sect of Islam. It was founded in what's now Pakistan, northern India, back in the 1880s by a person, Yusuf Ghulam Ahmad, who declared himself to be the promised Messiah, the return of Krishna, or the reincarnation of Krishna, the realization of the future Buddha of light, and so forth and so on. And you wouldn't believe this, but there is a mosque of Ahmadi Muslims 2 blocks off of the Center Square in York, Pennsylvania. Okay. What you don't realize is what's going on around you. And that's really what this course is all about, to let you in on some of the secrets of stuff that is going on that involves and preoccupies some people in overwhelming ways. And if you were ever to walk into that mosque in York, you would think you were in a different world, but it's in York, Pennsylvania. The guy, one of the key figures, used to be anyhow, or one of the persons who used to be one of the key figures there, was the director of educational programs in the York prison. So we're not talking about weird people. We're talking about people who have commitments, persuasions, commitments, and whatever else that you're not familiar with. But nevertheless, their lives are focused in ways that most of our lives are not focused. And Ahmadi Islam is a very, 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 very good case in point. I was asked to do a wedding a couple of years ago with an Ahmadi Muslim and an Armenian Christian. It's the only time in my life that I was ever frightened at a wedding. I did it and it worked out quite well, but I found out then that a lot of Jews are converts to Ahmadi Islam. Not millions, but hundreds of Jews are converts to